Hello everybody, Maven here, and today we're going over the second chance exotic titan gauntlets and the crazy Captain America infinite shield throw ability spam build that you can do with them. And also this season, Void Titan is just a champion killing machine because these second chance gauntlets give your shield throws intrinsic anti-barrier, and Lord Kelvin's Basilisk is giving your void grenades the ability to stun overload champions. So on Void Titan, with your abilities alone, you can deal with 2 out of the 3 champion types. Just slap on an intrinsic unstoppable weapon and you're good to go for any champion. And with the Grandmasters on the horizon coming at next Tuesday's reset, the second chance Titan build might be something to consider trying out for fun. So today we're going to be going over a second chance build that allows you to spam abilities on Void Titan faster than Heart of Inmost Light can. It's pretty crazy and I'm having a ton of fun with it, and I'll definitely be trying it out in GMs. So anyways, stay tuned for the full build breakdown. If at any point you find this video helpful or enjoyable, I'd appreciate a like. These videos take a ton of work. And with that, let's get to it. Hope you enjoy. So not only does second chance give you intrinsic anti-barrier on your shield throws, but the main thing about it for today's video at least is going to be that it gives you a second shield throw charge. Now for those curious about second chance's barrier stunning capabilities, I have this clip here. It does one-shot the barrier, and for some weird reason they take a big chunk of extra damage out of nowhere. I don't know what's causing that. I don't know if the second chance is doing that, but hey, I'll take it. A bunch of free damage, it's pretty good. Now if you're curious if this will stun champions in higher level content like Master, I have another clip here. And yes, it does indeed one-shot the barrier on Master. And you can see right here that I am also 12 under power because Master in this season is 1610 and I'm 1598 in this clip. Now, if it stuns the barrier champion on Master, I'd imagine that it also stuns it in one shield on Grandmaster, but we won't know until Tuesday's reset. But at least as far as Master goes, we know that second chance is 100% reliable. And with this mod setup that we have here, we're going to try to spam the shields as much as possible. Now this is going to be a lot to digest if you are a new player, but I'm just going to throw it all out there. We are running heavy-handed, elemental charge, melee wellmaker, elemental ordnance, and bountiful wells. Now with bountiful wells, that's going to make it so that with elemental ordnance, when we get a grenade kill, we get 2 void elemental wells, and we get a melee kill, melee wellmaker is going to give us 2 void elemental wells. When we pick up these wells, that's going to proc elemental charge to give us 2 stacks of charge with light, and we're consuming those stacks via heavy-handed. Heavy-handed says that when you use your melee charge, you instantly regain half of your melee energy back, consuming a stack with charge with light. But note that's only on the last charge of your melee. So for example, if you have 2 shield throw charges available, the first one is not going to proc heavy-handed, but the second one that expends the rest of your energy will. And then for additional melee energy, we have momentum transfer on our gloves. It says that when we deal damage with a grenade, we get some melee energy back. It is around 20% give or take, but don't quote me on that. And then we have 2 copies of Outreach on our class item, so we cast our barricade, we get a chunk of melee energy back. So these 2 things, along with picking up void elemental wells to recharge our ability energy, that is going to make it so we get our shield throws back at an alarming rate. Now here are our aspects and fragments. First things first, we're going to go over our aspects, starting with controlled demolition. So that's going to make it so hitting an enemy with the void ability is going to make them volatile, and also when a volatile enemy explodes, you get granted some health, and that is very good for survivability. But the combination of controlled demolition, making all the enemies explode, along with echo of expulsion, causing enemies to explode, that is how you see in the background gameplay that there are just volatile explosions going off everywhere. And next we have offensive bulwark. This is when we have an overshield, we get increased melee damage. Now how big is the increase? Well, I'll show this clip right here. So our unbuffed shield throw deals 19k, and then after we have an overshield, we deal 32k. That's a big increase. I don't know the exact percentage, but I'll calculate it and put it on the screen now. But to put that damage into perspective, an adaptive frame sniper's crit is going to do 24k. So that shield throw is a pretty hefty chunk of damage. And for those curious why I do not have Echo of Leeching on this build, it is because the health regeneration that it starts will stop immediately when you take damage again, so I don't think it is very good for survivability. And before we talk about our other fragments, I gotta say that this is also a grenade build. We're able to spam grenades as much as we spam melees, despite that I only have tier 5 discipline. And the main way we're able to do that is through Echo of Starvation. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Devour, and that is why I have a copy of Harmonic Siphon on my helmet. So most people know Devour to just fully restore your health on kills, but some people don't know that also Final Blows will give you 10% of your grenade energy back. anything. So it's like built-in demolitionist at all times. So that is going to give you a lot of grenade energy over the course of slaying out. And then on top of that, we got Echo of Exchange. So when we get melee final blows, we get granted grenade energy. So these two things combined together are going to give us just tons and tons of grenade energy passively without you even realizing it. And then on top of that, we got Echo of Undermining, so that all these grenades we're throwing are causing a 15% debuff. So Devour is one of the most important parts of this build. That is why in the background gameplay at the start of the encounters you see me getting a Void Weapon double kill so I can make that Orb of Power and start the grenade train going. Now for my weapons of choice with this build, I'm going with the Monte Carlo and the Deafening Whisper. Now whenever I make a melee build, I can just never find anything better than the Monte Carlo. I've tried so many things, but the Monte Carlo just reigns supreme for melee builds. It just gives you so much melee energy back on damaging enemies, sometimes gives you an entire charge back. So it's hard to beat that. As much as I wanted to use my Fiatora 59, I couldn't. So this thing, it's a new sidearm this season, gets Pugilist and Swashbuckler, which is just cracked for a melee build. And you can take advantage of Echo of Instability to take advantage of volatile rounds. And if you do that, that would allow you to go with Witherhoard, which is also a pretty good combination if you have this going, if you don't have the Monte Carlo. But at the end of the day, Monte Carlo is just insane. And I highly recommend going with a Void Special so that you can get that Orb of Power and proc Harmonic Siphon at the start of the encounter and get that Devour going. But if you don't have Xur's Deafening Whisper, you can just use any Void Fusion Rifle. Like there's the Null Composure, which you can just grab from collections if you deleted it before. There is the Glacial Plasma with Slideshot Reservoir Burst, but if you don't have either, there is the Likely Suspect, which you likely have because it's been available to everyone for a very long time now. And for my heavy choice, I'm using the other half because I enjoy eager edge skating around. If you need to do boss damage, there's the Taipan, and if you prefer burst damage, there's the Royal Entry. Now you don't necessarily need a Void Heavy. I was just doing that for the Harmonic Siphon, but you can just use your special for the Harmonic Siphon. So you can really use any element or any heavy you want to. It is up to you. But if you don't like Elemental Ordnance and you prefer to run Font of Might, then at that point you can run a Void Heavy and take advantage of that. So I will leave the dim loadout link down below in the description and in the pinned comment if you would like to give the build a try. But if you want to try the build but you don't want to click the link, then I will show my mod placements here for you. And like I said in the intro, there is a mod for your class item called Lord Kelvin's Basilisk, which gives your Void Grenades intrinsic overload. But if you needed Unstoppable, what I would recommend doing, like if you're doing higher level content, I'd recommend taking these 3 mods off your gloves and putting on Unstoppable Grenade Launcher. That would allow you to keep your Deafening Whisper in Monte Carlo and be able to use whatever heavy you need to. And then in that case, since you're taking off Elemental Charge, it's a very important mod. So I would slap that on your class item and take off the Elemental Ordnance because Elemental Charge takes priority here. And that would leave you enough energy to go with Loosen Finisher as well and take off the Outreach, because Outreach is more for lower level content. And now this video is not sponsored by the Eververse, but I will say that if you like yourself some fashion, there is an ornament set available in the Eververse right now that has this shield on your Titan's back, and that fits very well with the theme of the build. So that is going to do for the build. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask in the comments and I'd be happy to answer. And if you have any recommendations for this build, feel free to let me know and I'd be happy to give it a try. So I highly recommend giving this build a try. It is really fun and it is just pure euphoria watching and hearing everything in front of you explode with those little volatile eruptions from the controlled demolition. And every single time a shield connects and just instantly regens your health and gives you a bit of overshield, it feels really good. And if you have any buddies who are Titan mains who love Void, it'd be much appreciated if you share this video with them. I'm sure they find it enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and drop a comment because those 2 actions really help the algorithm and the video's performance. And if you're new, make sure to subscribe. We do build videos like this all the time here. Hope you have a nice rest of your day and I'll see you in the next video. Later.